Hey everyone, it's Andy. It's live office hours time, and today we're going to talk about how to create a one-sentence elevator pitch. That's right. By the end of this little show of mine, you're going to know exactly how to create that elevator pitch in one sentence, what the three components are that absolutely need to go in it, and how one of my one-on-one coaching clients used this exact formula to get hired on the spot. But before we get into all that, I want to say hello. It's Andy LaCivita. I am the award-winning author of The Hiring Prophecies and Interview Intervention, and I've made it my mission in life to help people succeed in their careers. And one way I do that is by holding these free live office hours for you every Thursday. So I'm glad you're here, whether you're an avid follower or you're some of these people who just found me today. Love having you. Absolutely love having you. And if you want more on me, in the description of this session and the recorded video, links to my blog, links to my training site, all that's in there. I've got all my social media handles and links in the description as well. For those of you that are avid Facebookers or on LinkedIn or Twitter, I'm on all those platforms. I'd love to continue the conversation wherever you want to have it. And you know I always come bearing gifts. 3 great ones today. One is a job searching download, one is a job searching webinar, and the other one, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about this a little later, 3-part video series that goes hand in hand with what we're gonna talk about today. So let's talk about this. Elevator pitch. You might be thinking, why do I even need one of these? Well, let's talk about this for a second. I can think of many reasons, but I wanna talk about 2. One is you've got to have a way to introduce yourself, whether you're in a professional setting, whether you're doing it in person, whether you're doing it in an email, whether you're doing it online. This elevator pitch that we're going to talk about is a great little application for the LinkedIn headline you might want to use. So there's many ways to use it to outwardly introduce yourself to the benefit of others so that they can understand who you are and what you do. But also, one thing that I think gets really overlooked with the simplicity of something like this is how valuable it can be as I like to call it an internal clarity marker or a focal point. It's very easy today in the world we live in to get distracted. Life is distracting in general, but as far as your careers go, what should I do? What should I try? Should I switch careers? Should I, before you know it, you sort of incrementally, before you really notice it, you've drifted away from who you are, what you're about, what you care about, and why you do what you do. And you need a little anchor point to pull you back in. So I think that's a very, very valuable reason why you need to have this. So it's just a couple of really good ones. And I always like to warm up with that because I want you to know the value and not just the tactics. So those are a couple great reasons. Now, let's talk about how to create that elevator pitch. So I want to preface this by saying there's about 1,000 videos out there that talk about this, and every trainer's got his or her opinion on how to do this. This is just the formula I like. I want you to take what I give you today, put your own spin and twist on it, and I want you to be yourself and use what is appropriate for you and what you feel most comfortable with. But I can tell you, there's 3 really important ingredients that need to go into your introduction of yourself. First one, who you are or what you are. Second one, for whom you do it. And the third one is how those people or those companies or whoever it is, groups, will benefit. So how will they benefit? So who you are, for whom you do it, and how they'll benefit. And let's look at that. Let's get to an illustration here, just so you can see it visually. These 3 parts: who you are, for whom you do it, and how they benefit. Now, that how they benefit, the first 2 might be really obvious to you, but how they benefit is the money piece. You want to be able to show this world and these people or these companies or these groups or institutions or whoever it is that you're serving, how they will benefit. And from an internal, that clarity marker that I was talking about, and for your focal point, the benefit of serving others is what ultimately will keep you going. So it's great, for you to do things that make you happy, and I want you to do things that make you happy. But when you have a necessity and you feel as though you're doing it for others and you're able to share it and be clear about that, that is going to keep you going when stuff gets tough. So I want to switch back, show you my face again, and I want to talk a little bit about, well, how do we put that sentence together? Now, at this point, I could just give you the sentence, but after teaching thousands of people how to do this and watching the agony and the struggle and the iterations that they go through, I want to give you a little story so that you can, in advance, realize the challenges that you're probably going to face when you pull this together for yourself, and I want to help you avoid it. Okay, so I have a client. He's a coaching client, a one-on-one coaching client. He enlisted my services to help him in his search. When somebody does that, they get a handful of sessions with me, and we either talk on the phone or we go through the computer and we do the Google Hangouts or something like that, or we meet in person if they're geographically near me. This guy happened to live in my town, so we were going to meet for lunch for our first session. And before the first session, for anybody that works with me, there's some homework you got to do. You got to gather some thoughts about yourself that usually takes people a little longer than they think, but there's a little soul searching that I want them to do. They go through all this stuff. We get together in the first session. So he and I are meeting for lunch. We sit down at the restaurant. We sit down at the table. We order. We ditch the menus, and we're sitting there. And the first question that I ask him as we begin, because I want to see what I'm working with here, I said to him, tell me what you do. And tell me what you do, and tell me as fast as you possibly can. So he starts talking, and he's talking, and talking. I don't interrupt him. I want to see how long he'll go before he takes a breath. Well, about 12 minutes into this, I said, okay, stop. I said, as fast as you can. He says, well, there's a lot to tell you. I said, well, you can't introduce yourself that way. No one's going to allow you to talk for 10 or 15 minutes about who you are or what you do. So I said, I want you to tell me in one sentence. He says, I can't tell you in one sentence. I said, all right, Mr. Smarty Pants, tell you what, let's go for one sentence. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I want you to tell me, I want you to answer me in as few words as you possibly can. So he says, okay. So I asked him, okay, what are you? And he said, I'm a CIO. And I said, stop. And then I said, okay, great. Who do you do that for? And he must have thought this was a trick question. I said, who do you do that for? He said, well, companies. I said, okay, stop. And then I said, okay, and what do they get out of it? He says, well, when I work with them, I'm always optimizing their systems and the staff and whatever, and we're creating solutions that either usually generate revenue for them, help them generate revenue, or reduce their costs. So basically, I try to increase profits. I said, okay, stop. Write that down. I said, just write down what we just said, just those words. So he writes that down, and here's what it looked like 3 minutes later. So I'm a CIO who helps companies optimize their IT resources so they can increase revenue and reduce cost. That was it. Took us just a couple of minutes to create that very nice, very crisp introduction. Call it a pitch, call it a headline, call it your one sentence, call it whatever you want. But let's take a look at this, because I want to decompose this for you, and I want to get your hamster running about how this applies to you. So the first part here, I'm a CIO. Okay, he's a CIO. You might be a business analyst, a financial analyst, a mortgage broker, a senior vice president of sales, a sales leader, sales manager, sales executive, whatever you might be. So that's kind of the front part. Who helps? All right, so he helps companies. He could have said manufacturing companies, healthcare companies. He could have said small companies, startup companies, Fortune 500 companies, whatever it might be. He could have said groups. He could have said educational institutions, or whatever it might be for you, the entertainment industry, the market, the whatever. Optimize their IT resources. Okay, that's his key thing. That's specifically what he does as a CIO. And what does that lead to? So the companies can increase revenue and reduce costs. Now, we could have said increase profits, but I think we wanted to highlight for him that he's a strategic CIO. So we want companies who are looking at him to understand that he can actually focus on helping them generate revenue, not just reducing costs, which is a real stigma with CIOs for him. But I want to say this a few times. So they can. So they are. So they are able. So they needs to be in your pitch, because the so they is telling your audience, or whoever it is you're introducing yourself, what you are enabling the world to do. So your beneficiaries, your companies, your groups, your people, your employees, your customers, your whatever, what are you enabling them to do? What do you think mine is? What are you doing here? I'm helping you with your careers. I want you all leading rewarding careers. That's what gets me out of bed every day. That's what really gets me excited on Thursdays, because I know you need me, and that's why I'm here. So my mission is to enable you to lead a more fulfilling career. So what are you doing? What is it? So start to think about that. All right, now I want to take you back, and I want to tell you what actually happened to this guy. So we get done with this, and then we go through some other very painful exercises about him and self-awareness and his why and all the requirements and things that he needs. We get his resume in order. That's next, right? First, you want to work on yourself. Then you want to work on your resume. We get that thing polished up. We sling it out into the world. All of a sudden, immediately, he starts getting interviews. He goes to an interview for a company he really loves, and they're interviewing a few other candidates, so it's very much in process. It's very much in play. He goes through like 4 interviews. He interviews with the HR department. He talks to the CTO, the CFO, the COO, and now he is scheduled as a last round to go meet the CEO for an hour. And coincidentally, I think there were 3 other candidates, and my guy was last. My guy just happened to be last in the process, and so he was going to meet the CEO. He gets into the room with the CEO. CEO shakes his hands. They both sit down. CEO opens his portfolio. He looks at him, just deadpan face, and says, "Tell me what you do. Not tell me about yourself. Not walk me through your resume. Not what are you going to do to the department when you get here. Tell me what you do." Now, I'm sure at this moment, my client is thinking, that Andy's a genius. Or he's probably not what he was thinking. He's probably thinking, I better not fumble my words. But he says to the guy, well, as succinctly as I can say it, I'm a CIO who helps companies optimize their IT resources so they can increase revenue and reduce costs. And then he stops. And the CEO, who I'm absolutely certain is a colorful, funny guy and probably a wonderful sense of humor, closes his portfolio, stands up, starts walking toward the door. I almost wish I was sitting in the room, because I'm absolutely certain my client, the color from his face probably went ash white, and he broke out into a sweat. And he turns to the CEO and he says, "What'd I say?" And the CEO looked at him and he said, "The right thing. And the job's yours if you want it." And then as the color started to probably come back to my client's face, the CEO went on to say, because anybody who is that clear about who they are and their goals in life and what they do for the companies they work for is going to be a great employee. And I'm also guessing with that clarity, you are not going to need a lot of time from me, and that's very important because I'm very busy and I need my people to be able to run their units on their own. So the job is yours if you want it. Now, I've come to know the CEO sits back down. They probably kicked it for another 30 minutes. But There's a lot of reasons why you want to have this, and I am not saying you're going to get hired in 18 words, but this is an important element. We talked about a couple of ways that you can use this. Obviously, there's lots of ways to introduce yourself: emails, LinkedIn headlines, in person, whatever it might be, and that internal clarity marker. So don't overlook the value of this simple sentence for yourself. Okay, now, if you like this step, I mentioned earlier when we started that there's a 3-part video series. There's a video series I created about 1.5 years ago, and I've tinkered around with the titles. I think I've settled on 5 steps to career success. It's in the job description of this video. It's free. It's on the YouTube channel. Just go, you can just click it and go watch it. And it takes you from this elevator pitch or headline, and it moves you through your why, and confirming your why, and testing your why, and creating your requirements so that you can assemble a virtual environment for yourself that you'll be successful in. And it's a great series for people who are just starting out in their careers. It's a great series for people who are changing careers. And it's also a darn good series for people who just simply want to change jobs but want to make sure that they're doing the right stuff, they're investigating it properly, and all that good stuff. So no matter who you are, it's good. It's a good watch. So I hope you take me up on that. Now, if you guys are still here, you 171 of you, if you're loving this, click the thumbs up button. Share the video, and put your comments in the chat. I'm going to go look at it. I can see it going feverishly, zipping on my screen here, but I don't look at it when I'm talking because I get distracted. Now, if you are somebody who is listening to this in the future on my podcast, on one of the podcast platforms, I'm letting you go here. I want to say so long, and until next week, have fun. And if you want more along these lines, then head over to the YouTube channel and look up this video on how to create your elevator pitch. For those of you that are still here with me, hopefully you click the thumbs up button. Let's go to the chat. All right, who do we got here today? I see John Blackwood's in the house with about 10 questions. Gordon, how are you? TL Boo, Jasmine, Kyle, my college guy's here. Renaissance Man's always with me. D. Pallavi, Brad, Jasmine, Dinesh, Kara's always with me. Paul, hey buddy. John, a first timer. Peter Radin, you guys are great. Kyle's here again. Okay, oh my God. Daniel Gomez, Leslie, Kenneth, hey buddy. Can't get enough of my coaching, baby turtle. Okay, Spammy, Robert, Sean, Mom's here. How about that? Mom's here. Everybody wish Mrs. LaCivita. That's the official Mrs. LaCivita. Then there's my Mrs. LaCivita. Say hi to Mom. Okay, let's go to the. Actually, hold on one sec. Let me just flip my screen here. Let's go to John Blackwood. Okay, John's got some questions here. Having been interviewed, was asked, was I happy with conduct of the interview? I wanted to say no, but didn't. If asked again, what do you recommend I do? Be honest. Always be honest. All right, these are the things they did. The interview was due to start at 10, was delayed 40 minutes, was in the room. 3 interviewers spent time sorting out their cups. So they're late and disorganized. And thirdly, answering the question, you getting whispers. Finally, one, oh my goodness, female interviewers wore a blouse that clearly showed off her cleavage. John. Run. Close up your portfolio and walk to the door. I'm not even being funny. Folks, first off, before I say what I'm going to say, I love you guys are great, man. My community is phenomenal. You guys are awesome. You're here. You're encouraging each other. I want you to know 2 things about yourself, everybody here. Number 1, you need to give yourselves a pat on the back, and I'm not being funny. You're here, you're spending time, you're investing time trying to do the right things for your career and to get ahead and live better lives. I love that. Not a lot of people are willing to do that. And you might take it for granted, but you're part of the 1%ers. So that's the first thing. Second thing is know your value. If you don't know your value and you are not convinced of your worth, how are you going to convince anybody else? So John and anybody else who is in situations like this where where companies are behaving this way, they do not deserve you. They do not deserve you. Run. Just politely thank them and say, you know what? Based on the way that you conducted yourself, you were late, you were disorganized, you were disruptive, and I very much appreciate your time, and I thank you for interviewing me, but it's very clear to me this is not the type of organization that I want to work for, and move on. And you know what? If one of my Mile Walk Academy members or students did not, enjoy my training, then I would want them to say that to me. So, John, I hope that helps, and you deserve more than that. Gordon, John, why would you want to work for a company that allows? Yep, that's true. Hey, by the way, folks, I forgot to mention this, and I should have, but I see some of you are veterans with me. If you have a question, just put some question marks in front of it so that I can actually find them. We're gonna go. I'm willing to answer questions, for another half an hour or so. So we've got some time. So if you got questions, just put those question marks in front. That allows me to actually see if you're actually asking me a question. So it's easier for me to find. Okay. TLEIBU. I wish I knew your first name. Oh, wait, Tristan. Okay. Would you tell an interviewer that you were let go from a company because you refused to do something illegal? Sure, why not? Why not? If so, how would you handle it? I would just say, I really enjoyed working at my organization, and I loved it right up until the point where they wanted me to do something that I was not only not comfortable with, but was flat out illegal. And as a matter of integrity, I wouldn't do that. And so, they decided to let me go, they decided to let me go because I was unwilling to do something illegal. Honesty. Okay. Jasmine, hey, you're here. Kyle, you're here. Love it. Renaissance Man, you're with me. Got the book. Awesome. And then I got a question. How would you deal with resumes not receiving any kind of reply for jobs applied online? Okay. So Renaissance Man and everybody else with resumes that are submitted online, and let's talk about this holistically because it's such an important issue. Number one, applicant tracking systems, that's the ATS for shorthand, but basically systems that companies are using internally to publicize their opportunities, collect information, your resume. Sometimes you got to type your background in, all that good stuff. There's many of these out there. They're all wildly horrible, and they don't do job seekers anywhere any favor. But let's be kind to the companies. They need a way of tracking the collection of your information. This is a way of doing it. And a lot of times these applicant tracking systems have devices, algorithms, other formulas that look at the content of your resume or the information that you've put into the system, and then they use it to match and by the way, they use it to match how systematically you align to their job description or their job. It doesn't mean you're the right person or you're not the right person. It's a computer that's doing this. So my first recommendation is always to try to bypass this and try to get your resume in an email directly to somebody. That's a lesson for a whole nother time. But on the applicant tracking system, when you are putting your resume into these systems, there are some things that you can do that will increase your chance of getting notified, getting accepted and contacted and so on. The first thing you need to understand is just statistically about, and depending on what your position is, only 2 to 4% of resumes are ever actually seen by a human being. So you've got, let's just split the difference. You got a 97% chance of not getting seen, and the more senior you are, the higher that percentage. So it's really terrible. So let's just say you got a 3% chance of being seen, give or take. In order to be seen, here are the things that I would do. I would, number one, make sure that I was qualified for the position. Number two, I would make sure that my resume showed my qualifications and had the appropriate vernacular in the resume, so keywords, those kind of things, phrases that match the job description. One of the nicest tools that we've discovered that I think job seekers should use, especially if you're applying online heavily, is called jobscan.co. So not com, but co. And it allows you to take your resume and put it into their system, and then take the job description and put it into the system, and then it kind of tells you, hey, you're a 85% match, and here's what you can do to kind of beef this up and get your resume dialed in a little bit more to what the company was looking for. So I would do that, and that will hopefully try to increase your chances. There's no guarantees, but it's nice to be able to do that on a job-by-job basis. And if you are submitting your resume to a company who either doesn't have a job description posted, maybe some companies say, hey, we accept resumes, please just email me your resume at careers@companyxyz.com, and we want system engineers or project managers or business analysts or whatever it is. Then what I would do is, if you want to, you just want a little sanity check, go to Indeed.com, grab some job descriptions from different organizations, maybe their competitors or other companies in their field, get those job descriptions, put those in a job scan and your resume, and just maybe 2 or 3 of them, and then see if you can, you're aligned. That's how I would increase it. But as a matter of fact, Renaissance Man, I would go to my blog, the Tips for Work and Life blog, in the search bar, type ATS. And I've got some articles out there about how to bypass the ATS and some other nifty tricks. So I hope that helps. But I wanted to spend a little more time on that one because I know you guys, a lot of you guys are dealing with that, and I know it's tough. All right. Here again, love the answers to the questions. Click the thumbs up button. Give me a share. All right, Jasmine, hey, Andy, I have to head out really quick, but I'll send you my question now. So I'm guessing Jasmine's going to be watching this on the recording. I see it down there. Hang on. There we go. Andy, I hope you had a great week. I did. I used the STAR technique, and it went perfect. Great. I recommend anyone to use the Ace Your Job interview guide. So my question, okay, wait. So before we go on to the question, the STAR technique, if you don't know what that is, just Google it. Situation, task, action, result. And it's a way of responding to a critical behavior interviewing question. That is a question about a history of yours. And history could be, how did you handle this? What did you do in that situation? Take me through a time when. Those kind of questions that ask you about your history. Companies are looking for your past behavior because they think that that's a predictor of your future behavior. I think that's total bunk, but that's okay. Companies are still going to ask you the questions. What Jasmine is referring to, my Ace Your Job interview ebook, is a great, another freebie. It's not in the description, but if you check out my How to Find a Job You Love webinar, it is the book we give away. It's got 14 of the most effective interview questions that an employer can ask you, 43 variations of those questions, what the employer's looking for, why they're asking it, and the very best responses. It is a golden nugget and a wealth of information, and it will take you through 90% of the questions that you'll be asked, excluding anything that's related to your domain-specific area. So if you're a mechanic, they're going to ask you how you'd assemble the engine. That's not in the book. But a lot of other things are in the book, and apparently Jasmine used it and kicked butt. And now I want to get to the question. I had my second interview. Everything went well, made it to the background check and filling out the paperwork. I found they needed 5 years of experience, and I only have 4 and change. Would I have lost my opportunity due to experience? I have an uneasy feeling about it, and if they did offer me the job, would they give me the lowest pay? And the answer to Jasmine and everybody else is great companies hire the best person, and they don't do math. Okay, they don't do math. They're not going to care if you got 3 years of experience or 6 years of experience. If you showed them during the interview process that you had the requisite skills and the foundational abilities and the right attitude and all that good stuff, It's not going to matter. And I wouldn't get too hung up about what they'll offer you until they actually offer it to you. But if they did do a background check on you, that is one absolutely fantastic buying sign. So I think you're in Fat City right now. I mean, I could be wrong, but I really think you're in good shape. So and you're actually darn close on the experience. I mean, we see people, companies asking for 10 years of experience and hiring people with 6. So, it could be done. Don't, if you feel you are genuinely qualified, I want you to give it a go, but I want you to be reasonable. Okay, let's go. Paul, hey, ready to roll. Have been using your resource. Okay, that's Tristan. Have been using your resources to look to doing a career change. Awesome. Thank you so much. You're welcome. John Templeton discovered me today. Great to have you, buddy. Peter Radin, great. That's okay. You're back. Peter, you missed the first one. You missed about a bunch of them. Folks, just so you guys know, there's a whole bunch of these live office hours. I did them in chunks. I did some chunks last year, 6 or 8. I did 3 in January. We've started them now, and we're running every week now. It's like a regular thing. But if you head to my YouTube channel, just go to the past live streams. You got them. They're all right there. So these are a little bit longer, but that's what the fast forward button's for and all that good stuff. So go check them out. Brad from Michigan's here. Newly minted business development analyst in Elkhart, Indiana, one of my favorite places. I used to go to Schwartz Resort when I was a kid in Elkhart. I don't think it's called Schwartz Resort anymore, but I'm guessing it's still there. And Brad, and I think Renaissance Man, I asked everybody to put in their elevator pitch before the session. I give you room now to revamp these things. I love it. Versatile professional with over 20 years experience in project management, so on and so forth. Okay, Brad, that pitch, get your benefit in there. Get how those people are gonna benefit. All right, Kyle, how many companies use a computer screening system before it makes it to an Andrew LaCivita's desk? Specifically, do some companies only rely on computer screening to eliminate app capacity? That is a fantastic question, young man. So anybody who's going into going to apply online, if you're using the applicant tracking system, it depends on the company size. It depends on the particular position. Sometimes there's just less people that know how to do that job, and you have a very niche skill set. And there's just not a lot of people, or there's not a lot of people in your geographical location that have that. So it's impossible to give you statistics. I would say a good majority of companies who hire at any kind of velocity are using some type of computer screening process. And even the human process is quick. And so when I open up a resume, I look at it very quickly. And by the way, there's a whole webinar out there called 3 Secrets to Get Your Resume Noticed that I did, and you can look and visually see exactly how I look at a resume and what I go through and how fast I do it. And it's not because you're not important to me, it's because my time is valuable and I have many to look at, or I have many things to do, just many different functions. And recruiters do too. And by the way, that's another thing too. Some of you, I get questions about you being puzzled because, hey, I'm a specialist and I'm applying, but I'm not getting, any callbacks. Well, the recruiter or HR person or whoever who's reviewing your resume is probably looking at 20 jobs, not just yours. So they're just inundated with a lot of different things. So they have different functions, they have different projects, and they have a lot of things. So Kyle, it's really hard to say. I would say this: the majority of companies use them. Even small companies use them in some form or fashion. And I would definitely, and especially for you, and we're going to do a resume review for you. Your resume will sing when we're done with that sucker. But we'll get it dialed up for you, and we'll make sure that you're using the job scan and some of those other tools out there to align it, and you can go out there confidently, and we'll get you some interviews. All right, next one. Oh, I love it. D. Pallavi, my elevator pitch is I'm an entry-level business analyst, worked on a global project that is added $1 million in revenue to the business. I love it. All right, so if you're an entry level, you're a youngster, or you're a new person, trust me, you'll be amazed at what your contributions can be. So make sure that benefit to who you are serving comes through. That servant attitude, that servant leadership mindset is a big deal, It resonates well with people. All right, I got here through your email. Good conversation. Okay, great. John Templeton, my pitch in progress, but here's where I'm at. I'm a versatile technology executive experienced in leading large-scale transformation change for financial services firms. And John, what does that transformational change lead to? Is it more streamlined processes? Is it larger customer base? Is it more revenue for the firm or whatever? Add that in there and you will be in great shape. Okay, Daniel Gomez, question marks. Thank you for putting a half a dozen or 8 question marks. So I tailor my resume to a particular job description. Now, what should I do about my LinkedIn profile? They may not quite match. That's okay. That's okay. Make your LinkedIn profile versatile. Make your LinkedIn profile versatile. There's a lot of good things you can do to that LinkedIn profile. I would try to make it versatile. I would try to make it aligned to your favorite resume, make it all encompassing. Don't do a ton of keyword stuffing. I'm trying to think if I did this on a free basis or if it was forgive me, folks. I do so many of these. I can't always remember. But I lost Daniel. But Daniel, what I would do is I do know I offer a free 19-minute video on how to write your resume. It's called Build Your Ultimate Professional Resume. If you folks watch that, and by the way, I have a whole resume playlist on YouTube. There's like 6 or 8 videos. If you watch that 19-minute video, there's a template, and the template has instructions in it. If you take that template, watch the video, fill out the template, fill out the resume with my recommended format, you can take your career profile, your career highlights, put that in the LinkedIn summary. And then take the bullets and put them in the LinkedIn body that shows your work history. That's my favorite way of doing it. And if you want to make some tweaks, I would not go crazy changing my LinkedIn profile every time I submitted an application somewhere. Just go out with your best. Don't worry about if it matches exactly. And depending on how much content you have in your LinkedIn profile, they're not going to read it all. They're just going to glance through your LinkedIn profile just like they glance through your resume. So trust me on that one. Kenneth, hope you're doing well. Hope you liked that resume review we did. I loved looking at your resume. Lots of luck with that. Leslie, I'm looking forward to this session too. All right, Renaissance Man. Andy, how would I modify my resume and LinkedIn profile to... okay, wait, let me read this. Andy, how would I modify my resume and LinkedIn profile to apply for several key areas that are related but different? For example, product management, sales, and technical management. Well, the first thing, Renaissance Man, like the cold hard truth is, I think you should decide for yourself what your primary pursuit is, what you really love to do. And I would spend about 80% of my time pursuing those types of opportunities. And then if there's a few others, product management and technical management are not that different. Sales is well different. So, I probably would focus on the ones that as a matter of fact, you know what? That video series that I just mentioned about, I don't know if you saw it, but the 5 steps to career success, go through that process. When you go through that process, that's going to be enlightening about which areas you should really focus on. And my best recommendation is, like I said, know your value, know what you're going to love to do, know what you want your focus to be, focus on pursuing those ops. That video series will help that. But I wouldn't be too all over the place. I really wouldn't. All right, Baby Turtle. Hi, Andy. Interviewed a week ago. Can I follow up with them just to let them know I can help them solve the problem they're facing? Did not have a chance to talk about that in an interview. So this is a great one. I love this one. Folks, when you interview, you want to make sure that you are following up with an email, and I like an email and a card, but an email to each interviewer within 24 hours after your session. Of course, I have a free winning thank you template that is out there on my YouTube site or my blog. Just go out there and search for thank you. And there's a template. And the template has 3 parts. The first part is you want to thank them for their time. The second part is why you are the best person for the job. And in that second part, you want to do 1 or 2 things. You want to either recap something that you spoke about with that particular interviewer and reiterate why you match the job and why you're the best fit because of something specific you discussed. You could also, if you want, throw in a sentence about something like what Baby Turtle is saying is something that you didn't get to talk about. And by the way, I'd like to add, we didn't get a chance to discuss this, but boom, 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 boom. So I'm like golden child for this job. That's a great way to do it. And then the third part of the thank you is I'm more interested now because I had a chance to talk to you and I look forward to hearing from you. That's within 24 hours. As time goes by, if you don't hear from them within 7 calendar days, and that's where Baby Turtle probably got this from last week, but if you don't hear from them for 7 calendar days, email them again. Email. If they say, well, you won't hear from us for a week, then I would wait 10 days. If they say, we'll call you tomorrow or we'll call you in a couple of days, then wait whatever they tell you plus 3 days. If they say, we'll get you in a couple of weeks, wait a couple of weeks and 3 days. If they don't say anything, they just say, we'll get back to you, or we're still going through candidates, or whatever, wait 7 days. Then when the 7 days comes, email your contact, whether that's the recruiter, the HR person, the hiring official, whoever. Email the contact and say, I want to follow up. I'm still, I'm very interested. You just want to, don't use the word still, but just say, I continue to be interested in the opportunity. I'm wondering if there's an update. And that's it. I would say with a week later, if there is an item that you did not discuss, what you could do is then say, by the way, over the course of the week, I thought about one of the issues and I wanted to share, and then share it. So almost as if you marinated on it or whatever and you wanted to share that with them. And this is just a nice excuse to follow up. I think that's totally okay. But I think the context upon which you wrap it needs to look smart and look appropriate. So I hope that helps. All right. We got Maryland, Florida. Spaminator just found me today. Hope you're still here. See you a lot. 168 of you still here. Man, you guys are great. Hopefully, I don't know, I hope you're enjoying this. If you're enjoying it, click the like button. YouTube loves likes. I love likes. I love comments, folks. I love comments. By the way, I try to answer everybody on my YouTube channel, and I spend a little time every day commenting. So if we don't get to your questions today, go into the comments section in this video when it'll just be released when YouTube records it a few minutes after we get done, and just ask me your questions. And every morning over coffee, I try to go through and answer, and then I catch up a little bit on the weekend. I try to get to everybody as much as I can. The great news is the YouTube channel's growing, and I'm getting more and more folks that are discovering me, and I'm trying to keep up. So I do want to help you. I really do. I know your careers are important to you. It's helping you is why I do what I do. So anyway, just want to let you know. All right. Let's see. Baby Turtle, can you ask for a copy of the job description from the recruiter before the in-person interview? Absolutely. Absolutely. If there's a job description, you should have it. And as a matter of fact, I'd be wondering, maybe you applied and there wasn't a lot of detail. Maybe you applied and they just said, hey, we welcome inquiries. Whatever the reason, always ask. Always ask. And by the way, Baby Turtle and everybody else, if you did not see the live stream I did called How to Use Job Descriptions to Ace Your Interview, check that out. Check that out. I teach you how to analyze the job description. I teach you how to use it, how to think through it, what to look for, stuff that people miss. and how to use it in the interview, how to actually apply it in the interview. That was one of the previous live streams that I did a few weeks back. It was probably in January. I think we did like a triple header, the 10th, 11th, and 12th. So those are out there. So you should check those out. Hey, Mom, glad you're feeling better. Sean. Hi, Andy. How do I follow up with someone who held a pre-screening phone call 2 weeks ago? How to go at it without seeming desperate? Well, first off, Sean, you're not desperate. You're following up. I call that prudent. I call the fact that the pre-screen didn't get back to you within 2 weeks rude. So you're not desperate. And what I would have done, that's okay. We're going to just talk about what to do going forward. But for anybody who has an interview, that 7 days is somewhat magical. So you want to make sure you follow up within a week, especially if they don't say anything. If they said, hey, we'll call you in a couple of weeks, then that's fine. But if they have not said anything and have not contacted you within 2 weeks, you are well within your right. And as a matter of fact, you should show some interest in reaching into them and just saying, hey, it's been 2 weeks. I want to follow up. Is there any updates? I'm interested in the next steps. Just be straightforward. All right. Let's see. Paul refreshed. Vince. I'm from New York, but I live in Malaysia. My pitch, I'm a professional software developer with over 20 years of professional experience creating and maintaining websites from the server to the browse. I love that. Vince, who those websites, I would love to know who you build websites for. Is it anybody? So if it's anybody, genericize it. My guess is you're developing websites that are helping companies become noticed. I'm guessing there's a search engine optimization component so that they can be more found, whatever it is. So to help companies increase their market awareness, whatever it might be, throw that on the end. I love that. And I love technologists. Jessica James, Ontario, wonderful. R. Walker, my Russian friend, right? I applied via ATS on a website of the employer and later received a robotic email that my resume was not an ideal match to the job posting. Can I still contact the hiring manager directly via LinkedIn? Awesome question. All right. So, everyone, when you submit your resume in an applicant tracking system and you get an email like R. Walker got, here's what happened. You sent the resume in, the computer said he's less than a certain threshold match. They set their tolerances. And it says, well, he didn't match, 90% of what we were looking for. Have the system send an auto-generated email so I don't have to deal with him, as impersonal and awful as that is. And that's what happened. So no one saw your resume. So yes, go email them, contact them on LinkedIn, do whatever you need to do to get to whoever you need to get to, because no one saw you. No one saw you. So that is for all of you. Don't be afraid to be aggressive. Hold on. First off, don't take, because I know what some of you are going to do. You're going to come back next week and you're going to go, Andy, listen, I contacted the CEO and the CFO and the HR person and I emailed. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, first thing to do, step one, try to get it directly to somebody. Step two, if you can't, go to the ATS. Then, if you don't get a response or you get a rejection or a bong letter like that, then go target a person, give that person a few days. Then try somebody else and so on, or a different medium. What you could do is you can send a LinkedIn message, actually it's better if you can figure out their email, send it directly to them. And if they don't answer, then send them a LinkedIn message, or actually vice versa or whatever. That's okay. What I can't stand is somebody emails me. I get 3,000 emails a day from people who are being welcomed into my community, which I love, and I read them all. I truly read them all. And then I have other stuff that I got to work through with my team and everybody and my clients and so on. And then what I get is a Twitter inbox, a Facing inbox, LinkedIn inbox, and they're coming at me from and I didn't even have a chance to address the first email. That does get annoying, but that's not what I'm saying to do. So yes, you should follow up. Yes, I want you to be persistent, but I want you to do it in a careful way. And the most important thing to remember is if that company is not looking at resumes and you're getting auto-bonged, remember, and I always say, and I can't believe this is the first time I'm going to say it in this session, always focus on what you can control. You can control your attitude. You can control your outreach. I did a session called Why Your Job Search is Taking So Long. That's a few weeks ago. That was probably back middle of January. That session shows you how to optimize your time. We talk a lot about you controlling your outreach. Keep getting your resume to the targeted companies that you want to work for and just keep going. And there's nothing wrong with following up with this company if you really want to work for them, but just stage it out. Stage it out. So yes, do that. Missy Woodward, good to see you. Hi, Andy. I sent this out to some job seekers. Hope they see it and learn more about you. I loved receiving the book yesterday. You are welcome. Missy is a job search boot camper. Hey, by the way, folks, not a big selling session here. Flash sale. Actually, I think the pre-flash sale might be on right now. Check out my job search boot camp. It is 5 awesome sessions and an all-access pass to the Mile Walk Academy. Now, it's kind of a President's Weekend thing till Monday. And for the first time ever, I cut up a couple of the boot camp sessions. So there's a resume lovers session. There's an interviewer lovers session. There's a resume and interview lovers bundle. But check that out. The job description, the link to the job search bootcamp is in the description. And this is a special one-time thing with this cut-up stuff and these little bundle and stuff. And the boot camp has a special price. So check that out. Missy, great to have you. Thank you. You're just such a great person, and I love having you in my community. Donald Screama, hey, from Dayton. I'm doing great. Linda LaCivita. That's my Mrs. LaCivita. And I don't know if she's still on, but hello to the 3rd graders at Hilltop Elementary School from Mr. LaCivita. I hope you guys are having fun. It's well after lunch break, but I hope you're having fun. And, I know the 3rd graders love to watch me on the YouTube. All right. Joshua, you're welcome. Alfonso, good to see you. I have many sales job insurance opportunities and I'm a recent graduate. Love it. Love it. Nelson, my friend, hey, Nelson, do me a favor. Will you chat me? Did you get the book? Hopefully that came today. Baby Turtle, question. I had a phone screen interview. After they asked, what's your last salary? They said you're overqualified for the position. How to respond since this is complete industry for financial services to higher education. I'm assuming, so Baby Turtle, let me talk about this. A couple things here. Before I forget to mention, folks, there is a video clip on YouTube that I shot way back, and it is about being overqualified. Now, first off, Baby Turtle, you might or might not be overqualified, but you're not overpaid. Your pay might be too much for what they want to pay. So, for all of you that get in this situation where you're interviewing for a job, I'm going to make the assumption that you really want the job and you want to make the pay work, or you want to at least be paid what you're currently earning. What I would do is, number one, and by the way, this is a personal situation. So based on your personal situation, you need to determine which of these alternatives is best for you. If you really want the job and you're willing to take a pay cut or whatever, then what you can do is you can stress, hey, I'm really interested in joining your company. That's the most important thing for me because I join a company, I don't join a job. And I feel like if I join the right company, I'll be able to move up based on my performance. I'm willing to work with you on the compensation. That's one option, and you can go and flower that up however you want. Another option is, depending on the size of the company or the type of institution that it is, lots of times these organizations will pay more if they get more. And interviewing you, they might have been going in with the mindset that we need somebody to do this job here, whatever this job is. but you might truly have more skills and therefore are being paid more than what it was they expected. One thing you need to do in this market, it's anytime, because people are busy. This is not calling these employers goofy or anything. You need to tell them how to think. And so you can say something like, as a matter of fact, okay, maybe I am overqualified for that job. Is there any way you would increase the responsibilities of that position to include these other areas for which I'm skilled that would warrant you paying me what I currently earn? That's another option. And you can get them thinking about, hey, you're getting more, you should be paying more. When I have to pitch my job search boot camp to you, I have to explain to you why it costs what it costs and the value that you get as a result of it. So while the price tag might be a little higher, I guarantee you the value is far greater. And as a matter of fact, the investment is totally worth it. And the cost at that point is going to be less. You as an employee, you're doing the same thing with the employers. You need to show them why you're worth what you earn. And if it doesn't matter who you are, and if you're going for a pay increase or whatever, you got to show them why you're worth what you're worth. That is a big point. And that starts all the way from the beginning. It doesn't start when you negotiate. It doesn't, you get down to the end here, or they're asking you or whatever. And I don't know if this was, you said it was the phone screen. So right away, they're just trying to eliminate based on these, large parameters. I would still say that to them. Hey, I'm really interested in your company. I still want to interview with you. And I think I can show you why I earn what I earn and the value I can contribute. But folks, here again, I'm going to go back to the thing I said when we were talking about John with his situation. Know your value. Stick to your guns. Stick to your guns. Okay. Jennifer, Matthew, hey back. Nelson, awesome. Vince, for whom you do it. If you're seeking a job that's not defined yet, is it? Vince, actually, I'm talking in general right now and historically or futuristically, who do you want to do that for? But obviously your pitch, you want to have an element of history and an element of future with it. So I would say, yes, it is defined. So you are building, if I remember correctly, you're building websites. If you're building websites, right, professional software developer, for whom you do it, historically, who have you done it for? Or the types of companies that you're pursuing. I think you can include that in there. All right, let's see. Let me get back. Danny Butler. Hi, Andy. Followed your advice on your videos. Applied for 14 jobs. Got 3 callbacks. Awesome. And 2 job offers. Yes. I didn't get to the 3rd interview as I had already made my choice. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Send me a Christmas card or a Thanksgiving card, or birthday's in August. Send me one of those. All right, Mr. Smarty Pants. Yeah, Paul, I love it. I know I'm so professional. You guys wouldn't believe this, but I used to work for a company where I had to wear a suit and tie every day to work, 5 days a week. I had to travel with the suits. I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I spent 10 years there. And now I want to wear my pajamas to work. All right. Spammy, good point, Vince. Hopefully, just Brad, I'm a military. Okay, so you're going. We love you. Oh, I love you too, Abbas. Paul Contreras, I like how noble you are. You know what? But okay, wait. All kidding aside, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Paul. He says, I like how noble you are. Folks, your integrity matters. Your integrity matters. And I can't remember who mentioned about, they wanted to do something illegal. That matters. That matters. Stick with it. The universe has this awesome way of balancing itself out and getting you what you want. Just make sure you're asking for the right stuff. Okay? Just make sure you're asking for the right stuff, and it will give it to you. It will find you. Don, good to see you. Huntington Beach, I know. I want to hate you, but I can't because you're here. But I'm guessing your weather's better than mine. All right. And Don and Paul's in Los Angeles. And Jamie, or maybe Jaime, Villanueva. Is it a good idea to ask employers during an interview what interested you to interview me today? I don't see why not. But what I would make sure, okay, wait, I want to genericize this. Folks, anytime you ask a question in an interview, you need to anticipate the potential responses. So what interviewers might say is, well, what do you think interested us? Or you have to be ready for any kind of response. And then they might highlight that. And they might highlight that, or they might be very straightforward and say, well, you seem to match a lot of what we were looking for skills-wise, and we wanted to interview you. But there's nothing wrong with asking that. It's probably not a question I would ask if I was interviewing, but I think it depends. It really depends. All right, Spammy, tell me what you do. I'm a recent graduate in search for a job that would help me benefit you. That's true. Paul, okay, yay. Oh, sorry, wait. I don't want to lose this. Sometimes my chat jumps. Oh, man, there's a ton. How are we doing on time? All right, hold on. I'm trying to get back to where I was. Okay, wait, I got it. All right, 3 more questions because I see we're coming up on my next. I actually have a session. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get. Uh-oh. God, it skips. Okay. God, you guys are great. Okay. Spammy, Don, Paul, journey success. I want that to happen to me. Mohammed, don't worry if you missed it, man. You get the recording. I'm trying to look for a few questions here. Oh. Renaissance man, I know. Who was that stinker that downvoted me? I know. People click the unlike button. I don't know. It is what it is. That's okay. Just trying to look for the questions. Hey. Thank you. You are welcome. Nice W75. I've been a fan for a while, but I'm time to check in today. Great. Guy, great. Maria, love. First timer, love it. Mary Jo's here. Mary Jo's a boot camper too. We love her. Joan, first timer. Jessica, James. Hey, Andrew. I have a meet and greet in a few hours. Okay, wait. Here, we got a question. All right, 3 more questions. This is number 1. Jessica, James. Hey, Andrew. I have a meet and greet in a few hours. Initial part of a hiring process prior to an interview. Is there a way I can stand out in the group in a good way and not be dominating? Use your elevator pitch. Make sure, because it's a meet and greet, you want to make sure you're leaving people with a good couple of positives about you. And I also, because it's a physical meet and greet, shake hands firmly, a lot of eye contact, smile a lot, those kind of things. Look sharp. All that good stuff, that helps you stand out. Believe me, the world has become very lax, and I think that's you do all those right things to connect with people, you'll stand out. Brad Road Armor. Question: is there a timeline focus involved, past, present, future, as in what I have done, what I do, and what I will do? Or is it dependent on the particular situation? I'm assuming you're asking about the pitch, the elevator pitch. But no, I think you are who you are. And, let me share a little story with you that just, I'm going to use myself as an example. But 14 years ago, I made a wholesale career change. I went out of IT and management consulting, and I became a recruiter, like total dead left turn. But before I became a recruiter, I wrote down the line with the structure that I shared with you today, the elevator pitch. And originally, I'm a premier source of aid for people so they can lead rewarding careers and fulfilled lives. That itself has never changed in 14 years. What changes over time, this is a big honking deal. What changes over time is how you do what you do and how you deliver that benefit. So initially, I was a recruiter. And so I would recruit people on behalf of organizations, and I was evaluating people, helping them find the right place, getting them matched up, and helping them with the job. And I was helping companies too. Then I started writing books and blogging. Actually, I started blogging. Then I started writing books. And the mediums by which I was helping people changed. But my headline or my elevator pitch or my focal point or clarity marker, whatever you want to call it, never changed. It's never changed. It's still the same today. I might have shortened it up a little bit, but it's the same. So your pitch and who you are and your focal point, I don't want to say ought to transcend time, but it ought to be in place for a very long time. How you achieve that is different. Today, I'm able to reach more people because of how I do it, and multimodalities and videos and podcasts and so on and so forth. Before, I used to just write it or blog it or write it or whatever. And then I only helped, say 30 people a year or 40 people a year get new jobs. But now I can help all of you here. There's still 133 people on this. And there was 170 something at one point, or maybe higher, I don't know, but you know what I mean? That's a big deal. So Brad, and everybody else, just remember, and I think Vince was his name, he mentioned it too. Just think about how what you do transcends that time. It's a big deal. Okay. Let me see. Hi, Andy. Okay, wait. MWS 928. My question today is, if you've already applied at a company and have not heard anything back for a given position, is it a waste of time to apply to other positions at the same company? It is not a waste of time. I would go and do it. Because here again, 97% chance no one ever saw your resume. Put it in. It might have a higher match for a different position, and all of a sudden it might come to somebody's attention. Not a waste. Okay. Patrick in Boise. Should LinkedIn connect with the recruiter who is handling the position I have applied to? Patrick, do not do that in advance of interviewing. So we got this one, I think it was last week or the week before. And somebody asked, should they send a LinkedIn connection request to the hiring official that they were going to interview with? I would not do that. The reason, by the way, on the one hand, I'm an open networker, so you can all link up with me, and I will gladly accept your invite, and I'll be happy to let you leverage my network and all that good stuff, because I'm an open network and I value networking, and that's my outlook. That's my philosophy. But you don't know how the other person who you do not know yet is going to interpret that connection request, and they might be put off by it. They might not. They might love it. But why would you take that chance? Don't take that chance. Do not take that chance. And if after, at the end of the interview, you look like you hit it off and you feel chummy enough, and you'd say, hey, would you mind connecting on LinkedIn? I'd love to stay connected. That's okay. I probably wouldn't ask them. I probably would wait until you figure out what the outcome is going to be. And if they don't hire you, what you might want to do is then send them a connection request. And by the way, this is a great one. This is classy. If you don't get hired by a company and they say, thanks but no thanks, and they were polite about it, just, somebody was more qualified or they decided they didn't want to hire for the position, whatever reason, send a LinkedIn request to the recruiter and say, I really enjoyed meeting you. I would love to connect and stay in touch. And if you feel my network would be valuable in your pursuits for your company, feel free. I would be happy to lend my network to you. You are now giving. That is total class. And don't think for 1 second, why should I give because they didn't hire me or whatever. That is the wrong attitude. And that's going to perpetuate a rough go of it. The more you give, what if I thought I'm not going to do my live office hour Thursdays because, 126 people are not going to buy my products? No, I'm out. I'm giving it to you. I want to help you. Some people can buy. Some people don't want to buy. Some people don't like me. Some people love me. I'm not going to think that way. I'm just going to give and I'm going to help. And I'm just going to be happy with that. And I guarantee you, good stuff's going to happen to you when you do things like that gesture that I just mentioned. So I would rather you do that. And if you do get the job, then great. That's even better. All right. Let me see. I don't want to skip anybody. Sergey, hi Andrew. Do you have specific recommendations for international students trying to find a job here in the U.S.? Sergey, we have a lot of international students in the Mile Walk Academy. People from Europe, people from Australia, people from Canada, people from Mexico, people from Brazil, and all over the place. And I tell them all the same thing. And by the way, I don't care if you're in Indiana and you want a job in California. Same thing applies. You have to reach into the region that you want to go. Circulate your resume there. In your cover letter or in your email intro or whatever it is that you're using to make the connection, you need to let them know that I'm moving to the U.S. And you got to let them know that I'm going to be moving to the U.S. in your area, because because what turns off a lot of employers is if they have to pay your relocation expenses. It depends what type of company it is. Some companies might just know, hey, that's just part of recruiting and we need it, but you don't know whether they're going to be comfortable with that or not comfortable with it, and just say, hey, I'm moving to the U.S. and I'm going to be locating in your, either your area or whatever, your area. I'd love to, inquire about working here. And they might think, well, okay, it's okay as long as you pay your way. Or they might say, well, let's just interview and see how it goes. And then depending on how awesome you show them you are, they might just be willing to pick up the tab and move you. So you got to target the area you're going to, and that will help. But you also need to be upfront about where you live and the fact that you need to move, and because you want to be honest about that. So that's what I would do. Okay, one more. Let me see. Whoop. Okay, Chris, wait, I'm going to answer Chris Viola's question. Actually, Chris, I thought I answered this last week, but let's answer this one and then I'll pick one more. Chris has Asperger's, it's high-functioning autism. He never discloses in an interview due to not needing accommodations, but I've been told my body language is off. Should I consider disclosing? Here again, yes. Yes, be honest. The last thing you want to do is try to hide something that the employer discovers after the fact. It's a messy situation, and they will make accommodations. And by the way, Chris, I'm not sure what positions you're interviewing for, and obviously, I'm guessing you've been doing fine and you haven't been needing accommodations. But sometimes when this shows up in the interviews, it can be difficult, and they could just assume you're nervous or something, and you don't want that. All right. Let me see. I'm trying to. Wait, did I skip over? Sorry, hold on. Okay, wait. Oh, sorry. The next one. D. Pallavi. How to start a job search with no network in a new city I just moved to, Detroit. Having a hard time finding a job. Okay, so everybody. The one thing I think I said this before, I want to say it again, is go back and watch why your job search is taking so long. The reason I reference that video, that live stream that I did, is I outline how to allocate your time. It starts for many of you with the target company list. When I understand you don't have a network in that city and you're new, but it's more important for you to target where you want to go. So target the companies in the Detroit area or wherever it is, and they could be national companies, and then figure out if anybody in your network nationally knows anybody at those organizations. So it doesn't just have to be somebody that's down the block. It could be anybody. I have friends that live in Wyoming that know somebody in Minnesota, and we're hooking people together all the time. So it's you just never know, but it does start with the target company list, and then and by the way, I don't know your age or your earning level, and the reason that I say those things is because your demographics do influence the probability and odds of how you'll find your next job. You want to align your activities and your efforts with the probable ways that you will find your job. So I would focus on that, D, and I think you'll have better luck using those tactics. but I lay it all out for you, whether you're 50 years old, under 50, over 50, whether you earn more than 100K or between 60 and 100K or less than 60, I lay it all out for you of exactly how I would spend my time. Okay, folks, I'm about 15 minutes over. Thank you so much for all of this. If you love it, click the like button, not the unlike button, and share it. Let people know about this. I want to help more and more people. And if I did not get to your question, go into the comment section. YouTube basically records this, and then it just I let it plop onto my YouTube channel, so it'll be up there. Just go in the comments and just type your comments in. I love it, and I'll go in there and I'll answer them, and I'll type in there, and that helps me too, because YouTube loves to see traffic on your videos. So we're helping each other. So I appreciate your time. I know there's a lot of time, there's a lot of competition for your attention. I love that you spent an hour and whatever, that 15 minutes in the middle of the day with me. I love having you as part of my community. Hope you are subscribed. Next week, we've got another one of these. I'll keep moving the time around a little bit so people in different countries and different regions of the U.S., everybody can participate at kind of a normal time for them. So until then, have a great one. We'll talk to you soon.